Everybody just take a second and do scroll through and look at, just say, you can't really make eye contact with people, it's kind of pretend, but just to see who's on the call and the wonderful spirits that you guys all are. I can't believe we're in Zoom again. Oh man, I think in November I think I made a joke like, we got a 10-year moratorium, but I was wrong.
Climate change is real.
Climate change is real. We've had a little bit of kind of Mad Max weather in the last 2 days. It's a little scary.
Can I share something really, really quick?
Please.
Seth Rudetsky, who's coming on later, I was not sure I could even return to my school because I have a blood clotting condition. And during his Stars in the House, he had Dr. LaPook as one of his contributors.
Yes.
I reached out to him. He got me to Dr. LaPook, who got me to the best hematologist in the country. And it's because of him that I was able to return to work.
I'll set that when he comes on, okay? That's great. That's beautiful. So that's a good bridge. So I'm going to start to share my PowerPoint with everybody. Share screen. Let's see. I'm going to get into it. Slideshow. All right. So I'm just going to kind of share some things and then kind of open it up for all of you. As you see, this is our virtual Zoom. We are not at Town Unlimited, but all the resources for you, 100 boxes of texts and flood lamps and extension cords and all kinds of stuff for you guys are sitting in boxes at Town Unlimited. And Daryl and I are going to make them available on June 21st. We'll send an email, June 21st between 3:30 and 6. We're going to ask you to come with a backpack or bags of stuff or a van. And get your texts and your resources. We'd love to have them for the summer and for next year. I included this in the packet. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. And I didn't know that we were going to be virtual today. But I just thought it's important. I love this. He's at Penn. He's an organizational psychologist, philosopher. But I just wanted to share this cynicism. We have a problem, but they don't want to solve it. Pessimism is we have a problem and we can't solve it. Optimists see the problem and believe that we can solve it. Responsibility tells us that we have a problem, can I help? And initiative is we have a problem, here's how to solve it. And I share this because that's what you guys do as theater directors and teachers. You're creative problem solvers. And you want your kids to be creative problem solvers in the moment. Right? The kid flubs a line and the other kid now all of a sudden, even though they've rehearsed it to death, has to act improvisational. Or they think they have a certain budget for a set and they don't. And they have to make do with what they have. So I just wanted to just share this because I thought it is very relevant to the work you do. So this is me when I found out that we were going to be virtual. I'm imagining many of you also. And I think one of the things that is and I kid, of course, but a powerful takeaway from COVID and today is we can slam down the hammer that in-person learning and in-person arts by far outweighs virtual learning. That there's a place and a time for online learning for sure, and it can support it, but it can't supplant it. And that there's a certain thing that happens with screens that doesn't happen when we're in person in the energy. So I wanted to throw this to you right now. Daryl's going to put something in the chat. Just want to ask how you doing. Just how you been. Most of us got together in January. It's been almost 6 months. Some of you are signing in we haven't seen since last year. And so I wanted to know what's one thing you're proud of from doing theater with youth this year. Daryl's, is it in the chat yet?
Yep, just went in the chat.
The second one you can start thinking about that Daryl's going to throw into the chat. The second link is, what are you looking forward to doing this summer? So today is certainly an opportunity for us to kind of reflect and round out the year and consider what we've done and what we want to do in the fall with our kids and with one another, and theatrically and artistically and pedagogically. But we also want to breathe and take this next hour and a half as a chance to just feel refreshed and know that there's no expectation today other than to connect and share and stretch together. All right, so Daryl's sharing. There it is. Cool. And can you save that, Daryl? Can you download that or save it or something?
You can save it as a PDF.
Great.
For anybody who knows this tool or doesn't know this tool, it's a wonderful way to brainstorm or to capture feedback or anything through devices. But if you can then print it out, and then it's if when your folks are looking for captured feedback or reflection or anything, this you can print it out, and this can be part of your portfolio to share back to principals or anybody who's like, well, what did you do? Bang.
No, we'll share this out. Daryl will create a PDF and share it out. And let's do the second one, Daryl, if we can. And we'll be a little quicker on that one. Thanks again, Helen, for sharing that with us. That's really beautiful.
Looks like also a new feature. You can, if you vote, you can send it to yourself. This is also, it can be done live. If you share that screen, the words will pop up and populate live, which is really, you'll see themes.
Shakespeare on the Beach. Is that a new drink?
Probably has some absinthe in it.
I like that recharging and relaxing are huge, and traveling and reading, it's great. Yeah, this is fun. Someone's getting married. If you don't mind saying who's getting married? You say yourself if it's you.
Maya, I'm getting married.
Maya, you're getting married?
Yeah.
I is getting married in the morning.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Are you doing it in New York City or somewhere else?
Somewhere else. A little further north.
What's that?
A little further north.
A little further north. Okay, great. The Bronx? All right. Let's unshare this, if you don't mind. I'm gonna go back to my PowerPoint. Okay. So you guys all know I like to share quotes. I thought this one is very relevant for this year. I've learned that people will forget what you've probably heard this before from Maya Angelou, a famous quote. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And so just kind of, again, thinking about what we do as theater artists and educators. And I just want to kind of front load. I've talked to quite a number of you this year of challenges, certainly post-COVID, but also administrative challenges and colleagues and things like that. And yet you keep your focus, like I always say, your E equals MC squared on youth and theater as best you can. And you know, just on behalf of our New York City families, really want to appreciate that. And 1:30, Seth Rudetsky is going to join us for Slaying the Musical Theater Audition. And he'll join us until 2 o'clock. The first part, just so you know what's going to happen, I've asked Seth to kind of talk to you about tips for musical theater audition. It is from his experience in coaching. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A, and then he's got a real kind of a fun treat, which I'll let him share. Then from 2 to 2:30 or 2:20, 2:25, something like that, we'll do grade level breakouts. Because we have so many of you, we're going to have 2 rooms at each grade level, and they'll be broken out by alphabetical letter. So A to, I can't remember what we said, K or J or something like that. And you'll see it and you'll just click on, I'm elementary school and my last name is Manuel, okay? And you'll go right into that room. We've got facilitators there to talk about making students' trips to experience live theater meaningful. So not just taking kids to see theater, but why, and what do we do pre-show, what do we do post-show, et cetera. And then we'll come back together and wrap up. Just for fun, I wanted to show you a graphic of some of the shows that we've worked with that have given us free tickets or discount tickets this year for all grade levels and for teacher nights out. This is the screenshot from the workshop video series from iteachtheater.com. So when you go to this Google page, you'll see there's the section 1, section 2, and then each one has all of the videos. Also has the packets. So the teacher resources are all there, and my PowerPoint.
The volume is right there on the bottom. It's right on the keyboard. Oh my God.
What's that, Naya? Naya, are you talking to us? Oh, okay. Very excited to share. In the fall, we'll be rolling out, you guys have probably heard about the Hidden Voices curriculum. Have you heard about this? Social Studies has been rolling out Hidden Voices curriculum from AAPI, from Latino, Latinx, and from neurodiverse units, where they're saying People with Disabilities Act units. I say neurodiverse. And this year, I used their funding from Social Studies to contract 3 companies, Epic Players, Ping Chong, and Repertorio Español, and each of them created an 8-lesson unit at different grade levels. There's a kind of an elementary, middle, high school, and a high school on these topics that you see here that we'll be sharing and piloting in the fall for you to be able to use and weave into your curriculum, exploring the cultural connections from Asian American Pacific Islander folks, looking at identity and communication and immigration in the Latinx community, and from independence and interdependence in the Epic Players. So that's very exciting. This Monday, and Daryl, if you could throw the RSVP into the chat, this Monday we are debuting the premiere of our All-In Ensemble's video they made during COVID, during 21-22, called The Loop. And then we're also going to show the short film of this year's 2023 ensemble production of the Object Collection from Me to You, because I want to give a huge shout out to our facilitators who were so amazing for the first 2 sessions and were ready to rock your worlds this year. This is what we would have had in person. And you'll see in the packet, but I just wanted to point out that Helen and Jessica are going to be doing a story teaching session for elementary level, that Melissa and Kelly were going to be using the Epic approach to introducing a play and a text, that Naomi and Aaron were doing a double session on devising original musical theater with students, and Michael and Amanda were prepared and have done a lesson plan. Okay, have fun. Bye. Love you. On adapting scripts, creating access for students to shine. And as we've said before, oftentimes D75 and neurodiverse pedagogy and approach is foundationally amazing for all levels of students to be working, because it's so clear and concise. That Melanie, Anthony, and Cheney were going to be doing radio playing around, creating radio plays and using sounds and audio, devising with voice and sound. That Devin, Sammy, and Rachel were going to be working on preserving the sense of play. And that Jen Katona and Bryce were going to be looking at how do you revisit a curriculum. So not write curriculum, but actually revisit it and take the curriculum that you've just done and how I want to adapt it and rework it. And so
I know you're in the middle of something, but I wonder if you just take a few seconds to pray with me.
Who is that? Was that real? Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, we
Was it
heard
me?
it. Yeah,
No,
we
it
heard
was-
it.
it was
Yeah, we
somebody
heard
just-
that.
What the heck was that?
Somebody on the Zoom joking, or
I think someone just came unmuted for a moment.
oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
that was a
Okay.
Do we have a factor?
Okay.
that wasn't just like give me the tuna. Like that was like, you know, like, they went deep, man. That was like
That was
Whoa.
queued up and ready. We got the-
I thought like maybe I said something that triggered people, then like, oh God, we better pray for Peter. He's in trouble now. And I'm like, what did I do? I don't know. Didn't even know.
That was not a toilet flush.
So if we can just take a second and you can unmute and cheer for our amazing facilitator team, because it's a little hard to shout them all out individually here. So thank you guys. Take bows. And also for Daryl Embry, folks, for being a great production manager and coordinator.
Hey, Daryl.
Carol in the house.
I don't know if all of you have met Laura, but Laura Bucko is our new arts program manager. You've probably gotten emails from her. Laura took over for Callie, I think in April, and she's terrific. And she's with the music team right now. Hopefully she'll be with us in the fall. So everybody, Seth Rudetsky.
We call that a smattering. Thank you. I love the silence.
Yeah. It's a little weird. It's a little deja vu-y that we're back in Zoom so fast. We thought this would be at least 5-10 year break. But Seth, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you and everybody just so a little bummed that we're not in person and being able to kind of do a coaching session, have some fun and laugh together. But we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. You were on the phone call with 197 frontline theater teachers in our New York City public schools, working with our amazing kids. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, wow. I love what you guys do.
So Seth is joining us today to talk to us about what I called slaying the musical theater audition. We'll have get to hear from him a little bit in terms of some of his coaching thoughts, tips, insights, yada, yada, yada. And then a chance for you guys to do a Q&A. And he's got kind of a fun activity, which I'll let him reveal later. So Seth, the floor is yours.
Great. Hi, everyone. So here's what I was talking to Peter about doing, talking to you guys about. I used to play this audition class that I love so much with, her name is Sarah Lazarus. And I'll put it here for you all to see, Sarah Lazarus. And that's really where I learned these techniques from. And she based those techniques on a book by David Craig. And every time I do master classes, I use these techniques, and I just think they're like completely foolproof. And I've seen so many people graduate from theater programs, and they kind of don't know what they're doing. So I just thought thank you for all the nice comments I'm getting, by the way. So I'll just give you an overview of what I think people should do for auditions. And if you like it, you can apply it to your students. So I'm going to just kind of talk, and you could take in whatever I'm saying, and, 12-step style, take what you can and leave the rest. So first of all, people are always like, what should I sing in auditions? Really sing anything you want. I don't think there are any, don't ever sing songs, because it's like, don't ever sing Sondheim. It's too hard to play. Really? For some people, it just depends. It's like, I did the show Company when I was in high school, so I know how to play another 100 people. Someone else might be sight reading it and they're going to suck. So yeah, you can bring Sondheim, you could bring Jason Robert Brown, because there's certain songs that pianists just know from playing. If it is a hard piano song, it shouldn't be your only option, but you're allowed to bring whatever you want. But yes, if it's a difficult song, have another option. So that's A. You can definitely sing from the show, but I always think, like, why not start with something else? And then they can say, ooh, by the way, do you know the song from the show? So it kind of gives you a second chance to sing something. So I think you should always have your own audition song. So many young people I know, and I know you work with young people, so many young people I know are singing songs that are so inappropriate for them. Like my friend graduated Carnegie Mellon with Being Alive. It's like, you finally come to grips with the fact that you want to get married at 21. What? So like, these songs should be relevant to being young. And there's so many great songs that people just don't do anymore. Young people only like seem to have a scope for the last 10 years. Like, gimme, gimme, Christopher Columbus, that other Sutton Foster song. It's like, there's what's that one? Impossible. What's it called? You know what I'm talking about? From, Little Women. What's it called? Thank you, Astonishing. Yeah. It's like, it's like, is that such an amazing song? Aren't there any? Anyway, today is the first day of the rest of my life. On the other side of the tracks, all these songs about, I have my whole life ahead of me, the sweetest sounds. are great songs for young people because they're young. And so many young people also want to do these like, Mama Who Bore Me, these were, I'm a shutdown teen. It's like, who wants to see, like, I don't know what role you're trying out for. Like Wednesday Addams, like what part do you need to be so depressed for? So sing a song that's basically, oh my God, I'm all life ahead of me. And you don't have to me, the whole thing about doing comedy songs, it's very difficult to do a comedy song that has comedy lyrics because basically, if you're a musical theater professional, you've heard it, you know by heart. So where's the funny part? If it's reliant upon lyrics, it's really, to me, better to take a song that's pleasant and put your own spin on it. Just your own personality is going to make it funny because you're an interesting, fun person. So, like, it's times like these, a girl could use a dog. Right. I knew that was coming. Like I've heard a million times. So it's not going to make me laugh, but if you do a song that we all know a million times, you've got to bring your own personality to it. So that's for now what I want to say about thank you. For now, what I want to say about songs, but please, I'm begging all you theater teachers to tell people to go back to like the 50s and 60s. There's so many great songs out there that nobody does anymore. I don't understand why now that we have so much more access to YouTube. I used to have to go to the library. Like you have YouTube. There's so many things out there. Why don't young people look at them? Okay. Second of all, 16 bars. So many young people are going to have to do 16 bar auditions because that's basically what you do at auditions. Please don't just literally take 16 bars out of your song. So many people are like this. And that's why, like, and what? I don't know what you're referring to. Your 16 bars has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. It can't be like, I'm weirdly in the middle of the song. I have to, as a person listening to you, know what the F you're talking about. So it has to make sense to me. Second of all, so many people do these 60 bar cuts where they're like, I'm flying high, defying gravity, and you can't hold me down. Okay, I'm depressed. I'm also bored. You have to have an ending to your song because people behind the table are not that bright. They're not going to go, oh, they sounded amazing in the middle of a song. They're going to go, boy, I feel unfulfilled and bored for some reason. And it's because the person auditioning didn't have an ending to their song. So you have to make your 16 bars an entire audition song. So you've got to figure out an ending that's interesting. And if you can't, don't do that 16 bars. It may be a good audition song, but it's not a good 16 bars. You have to end. I tell the story where this girl had a horrible voice that I was, playing open call for, but I played this amazing chord progression at the end, and behind the table, they were like, beautiful, like sort of she got the credit for it. I'm like, she sucked. I was good. But my point of my story is that's what they relate to the end of the song. So if you don't end it, they're just not going to think it's a good audition. So please tell your students, you got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I always say, as a music director, I'm like, you got to give me a note, meaning listen to Vivian Blaine. Like the whole Adelaide's Lament, she's got a character voice, but right at the end, she's like, a poison can develop a bed. And like, there's one note, and you're like, oh my gosh, she's got a great voice. So within your 16 bars, even if it's comedic, you've got to give me something that makes me go, oh, you've got a good voice. You can't do the whole thing as a character comedic track. There's got to be something that makes me go, you could be in this. So that's my 16 bars. I don't love beginning with a bell tone. I know a lot of people do. I just think it's so like you're in a factory, and what Broadway song begins with a bell tone? Like, just give me like a measure introduction. Give me like, find me something where the pianist can play for like a measure and then start singing. This is all, by the way, this is all Sarah Lazarus stuff. She really believes in telling the pianist, I'm going to nod first. So it's not this weird thing where you're standing in the middle and you're sort of waiting for them to begin. Like, do I like go to the pianist, be like, I'm going to nod first. And it's not a secret that you're auditioning. So you don't have to be like, you can literally like look over the pianist, like, make eye contact, give your nod, and then there's usually delicious 4 beats of music. And in those 4 beats, you basically place yourself in the situation. And what Sarah says to do, which I love, is give yourself an internalized cue line. So right before you sing, you're basically saying like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell you this, or listen to this one, or oh, I'm so upset, whatever it is, but it inspires you to sing with your first singing. So you say this internalized cue line before you sing within those 4 beats of music. Also, there are basically 2 types of songs, and I agree with Sarah. There's to an individual and there's to a group, and people have to know which kind they're doing. So obviously to an individual, you are the promise gives of springtime, you're singing to a person. A group, what good is sitting alone in your room? You're singing to a group. So which song are you singing? So the person has to know what they're singing. Second of all, eye contact. This is the biggest problem I see at auditions. Here's the dealio. Back in the day when I was a kid, we auditioned on Broadway stages. We were on the stage of Broadway, and we basically performed out to the audience, to the balcony. That's where we were. Nowadays, for various reasons, auditions can't be in a Broadway theater because, we have to pay, to have a full crew there, because that's suddenly a crew is really important in 2023. They weren't back in the 70s and 80s, but suddenly they need to be paid because, safety first. Don't get me started. But anyway, now we're auditioning in these small audition rooms, and actors are still doing these auditions to the box seats. So they're learning to perform in these rooms where people are right in front of them, and it's bizarre. So do not sing above people's heads, because there's no connection between the people auditioning you and what you're singing. And then there are a couple of actors that are like, I'm going to just look right into the eyes of the director and play a scene with them. Really? I'm not an actor. Can you don't look at me? So what Sarah teaches, and I completely agree with, is you perform your song on eye level with everyone that you're auditioning to, but not into anyone's specific eye. So basically, if it's an individual song, I see two people in front of me right now, Peter and Samantha, I would literally play my song right between them. So it's like, you are the promised kiss of springtime. Now, the entire time I'm talking to somebody, I don't have to literally be staring them down. I could be, thinking about something, but I keep coming back to that position. So instead of being like, you are the who are you singing to, Jesus? It's like, you want to sing to the person that you see in front of you, place them. Or if it's a group number, on eye level. What good is sitting alone in your room? You're playing to eye level. You don't play up here, and you don't directly look in someone's eye. But that is one of the main things people do wrong on auditions. They constantly play up here, and it's bizarre. Play at eye level, but not into anyone's actual eye. A lot of people also are like, I'll say what's your song about? Like, well, in this show, I'm like, and cut. You're not on the show. You are auditioning as yourself. So yes, if you're auditioning literally for Evita, you can't be like, my spin is, she's really in Portugal, not Argentina, whatever. You're auditioning for Evita. But if it's your audition song, it's anything you want it to be. That's why even that song, Some Things Are Meant to Be, I don't know if you know it, but it's from Little Women. And basically, it's a sister singing to another sister, and they kind of know one of them is going to die. So it's completely filled with this undercurrent of depression and pathos. But really, the lyrics are just positive about being in love with someone. So you can play that song as a totally positive song because you're not doing the show. So whatever your song is, you can make it relevant to yourself. It doesn't have to be what's in the show. Everything Is Coming Up Roses is actually a positive song. In the show, she's in complete denial and having a nervous breakdown. But in real life, it can be played as positive. The other thing is, especially for young people, it's like, I always say, if you've never been in love, just basically play the song to your pet. So many people feel so much love for their cat and dog, and they can actually easily access that. So you could tell a young person, think about the way you think about your, whatever your little pet is at home, and you can access the positive feelings there. Another really important thing is so many young people, especially, like I said, they'll sing Mama Who Bore Me, but they love to sing depressing songs. And when I was telling them, it's let's say you're singing a depressing song. Who the hell is calling me at this time? You may be singing a depressing song, but 80% of the time, you don't know it's depressing, because as long as he needs me, she's like, this is amazing. He needs me, and I'm totally into it. So we get to go, wow, that's a pathetic relationship. It's abusive. It's not actual need. He's abusive to you. But she doesn't know that. Eponine is not like, I'm so pathetic. He doesn't love me. She's like, on my own, I have this amazing relationship with Marius, and I love it. So play the positive. First of all, it's really nice for an audience auditioning to see what you look like when you're positive. Second of all, you're not aware that you're pathetic. You think it's great. Let us be aware. So always try to find the positive. Third of all, try to find the comedy in any aspect of life. Even in people's worst moments, there's still comedy. There's still people will make a joke about a bad situation. So even within a depressing song, find something light and find something positive. So that's also my main thing, is try to find as many colors as you can within one song.
We lost him. He'll be back. He'll be back. Wait and see. Peter, you're muted.
I think Seth's Zoom meter just ran out, so he'll have to put a quarter in. He'll be back.
Hey, y'all, I while we're held here, can I put something in the chat? I realize there's no way I'm going to catch everybody on the, by catching you on.
Here he is. Just everybody email Daryl that you were here.
No, I'm putting a link in the chat. You sign in.
Okay, great. Seth, you back? Daryl, can you find him?
Ooh,
Right here.
He's here.
Okay, great. You spotlight him?
Yep, got it.
And just really fast, hold on, Seth. For those of you that are putting in the chat, yes, we'll do a little Q&A with Seth afterwards. I just want to let him run. Thanks.
Wait. Okay, there I am. So blurry. Hold on. I guess at my age, blurry is better. My sound still okay, Peter? I guess so. Okay. So yeah, can you find the comedy within the songs that you're doing? Try to find a light moment and try to find as many colors as you can within those moments. Hold on, there I am. And the final thing I'll talk about is, well, two things I'm going to talk about. Holding a note, because when you hold a note, no one holds a word in real life. No one goes like the wizard and like you don't hold, it just doesn't make any sense. But holding notes in musical theater is because you're having various thoughts. So have various thoughts while you're holding a note for two reasons. A, it makes you stop obsessing about how you sound. And one of the examples I always give is my friend was doing Wicked and she was talking about the wizard and I. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous on the last note. It's a C and it's right on my passaggio. And I was like, stop worrying about it. I was like, you should have three. I would say have three thoughts when you're holding a note. Have three different thoughts. And let's say for the wizard and I, what I said was, you know, I'm finally going to meet the wizard. He's going to take away my green. We're going to rule the kingdom. So an audience is watching those thoughts in your face. They don't know what you're thinking, but they're watching you think it. So instead of being like the wizard and I am panicked. Oh my God, I'm running out of air. It's the wizard and I'm going to meet him. Oh my God, he's going to take away my green. We're going to rule the kingdom. They're seeing these thoughts in your face and it makes you, first of all, get you out of your head and you're acting, because why would you hold the word I in real life? It's taking the place of three thoughts. So it really helps all the time, I think, when you add the three thoughts, especially at the end of the song. I always say make it more and more positive. And the other thing I'll talk about, and I'll put this in the chat too, another great access is jackplotnick.com. So Jack, he's my writing partner. We wrote Disaster together. He has this great free ebook for actors. And one of the best things he talks about is being nervous. And he says that when you're, let's say you're at an audition, you have a vulture. So you're like, I'm really nervous. I'm going to crack on that high note. And then you go, no, I'm not going to crack. And then your vulture is like, you're going to crack. And you're like, no, I won't. Yes, you will. And you have this crazy back and forth argument. His idea, which I really agree with, you release and destroy your need. So you say, I release and destroy my need to hit the high note perfectly. And then once you do that, your vulture is like, oh. So instead of being like, I'm going to hit it, you go, I release and destroy my, and very specific. Like when I was doing Torch Trunk Trilogy, I literally was like, I release and destroy my need to be as funny as Harvey Fierstein. Like you could be, I release and destroy my need to know the lyrics. I release and destroy my need to get this job. It's so helpful. That way you're not in an argument. You're just like, I release and destroy my need. And it really, really helps you. So I highly recommend that for nervousness. No joke. When I was doing Thoroughly Modern Millie, Sutton literally had Jack's affirmations on her dressing room mirror. Like I release and destroy my need, whatever it is, and make it very, very specific. And the other thing Jack talks about, and also Sarah Lazarus, is basically either magical blank spaces or acting on the air. And I remember I saw Liza Minnelli, I can't remember, I think it was maybe this time. She was like, it's got to happen sometime, maybe this time, pause, maybe this time I'll win. And a lot of people will be like, maybe this time, 3 and 4, maybe this time I'll win. But you have a thought always during the air. And what I saw Liza do, it was like, maybe this time. And during that thought, she was like, I'm always going to be alone. Maybe this time I'll, and then she went back to it. And it was, I don't know what she was thinking, but that's what I saw in her face. So anytime there's air, you have to have a thought. And so many people are like, maybe this time I'll be lucky. But instead it's like, maybe this time, oh my God, please God, I'll be lucky. Will it work out? Maybe this time I'll say, people have to remember to act on the air. And that is really where you stand out, because the way you look when you're thinking completely is different from anybody else. So the more you are yourself and the more you have these thoughts while you're thinking completely makes you an individual. And it doesn't have to be an amazing song. It doesn't matter, because your thought process is on your face and that's what's making you stand out. All right, so that's like a million things that I cover in my audition workshop. I'll go to the chat and see if there are any. Well, why can't I make the chat a little smaller? Can I? Wait, where it doesn't.
Well, do you want to take a beat and see if there's questions? Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm doing.
Right, so let's just do this. Let's just do this. Folks, if you want to kind of throw a question in the chat, I saw a couple of people asking me if they could wait, and I'll read it to Seth.
Right, that's best. That's easiest.
Yeah. So go ahead and throw a question to the chat. While we're waiting, maybe you want to start us off, Seth, while we're waiting for a Q&A. you were gonna as a fun story kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, because basically after I answer questions, the other thing I always do because of my book, Musical Theater for Dummies, I have so many stories. If you just have a favorite star or a favorite show, I basically have a story about everything because I've interviewed so many effing people. Like just today, Mo Rocca was just tweeting about my book, Musical Theater for Dummies, and saying he was so inspired because I wrote, Thomas Meehan wrote 2 of his biggest hit shows after he was 70, and it cheered him up. And it's true, Thomas Meehan wrote The Producers and Hairspray both after he turned 70. So it's not late for most of us.
All right, so Helen just wrote, and this is very subjective, but what are 3 things that you think auditioners look for? Like if you were to talk to a young person?
It's what I just said. It's like, you've got to give me a voice. You've got to show a unique personality. It's like, it's really just your personality, your specificness, that the more specific you are as yourself, that's what people are looking for, is uniqueness. That's why Barbra Streisand's so unique. It's like, it's not just her amazing voice. We're seeing so much acting, Judy Garland, we're seeing the acting, and it doesn't have to be grand acting. It's just the way you look when you're thinking these things. So the more uniqueness, the more unique you are, and the more, instead of this sort of like people put on this persona when they audition, that's not them. Be yourself, and you are unique. The way you think about something is unique. So just be yourself. The more unique you are, the better. And like I said, give me at least 1 note, like where I can actually hear your voice.
So Jonathan says, what are some ways do you think we can help our kids to learn to love and appreciate material from the 20th century?
I think every week, say, look up a Frank Lesser song and tell me which one you love the most. Look up something that, Barbara Cook sang. So give them kind of a general idea, and then they can come back and be like, oh, I love Glitter and Be Gay. Oh, I love Till There Was You. And tell me what you loved about it. That's where, about deconstructing. That's why deconstructing, I love doing that online, because I say, this is what I think is brilliant about this song. So instead of like, it's really good, I'm like, I love the way she adds vibrato on this note. I love the way she laughs in the middle of this word. Like, ask them to look up a song and say, what are the 3 things you think are so great about this song?
And you could even frame it, guys, is kind of have them tell you what they're looking for, and then you give them some guidance. So it can't, it's right. It's not, I mean, you know repertoire better than they do, probably. Bryce just wrote, my students all want to sing Disney. So he said, what are some audition songs from an animation? But let's just put it this way. What do you think about people doing songs from animation as musical numbers? Do you have a feeling about that? It's all good?
They're all by musical theater composers. That's fine. But if they already only want to sing Disney, why don't you force them to sing something else? I mean, it's like, but it's fine because there's great musical theater stuff in Disney music. But it's like, I just would love, while they're young, to any show that my theater teacher picked that I hated, I wound up loving. Like, we had to do Jacques Brel is Alive and Well Living in Paris. It's like, who the hell ever heard of that? Loved it. Robert Bridegroom, I'm like, this sounds stupid. So it's like, the more you can force your kids to go in a different direction, because they're already going towards the Disney stuff. So throw them something else.
So you tend to approach from a very positive point of view. Bronwyn asks, what do you do with singers who are not so confident that they come in? How do you psych coach confidence?
Play them Elaine Stritch and say she was a big Broadway star. You know, that's what I tell people. It's like, they think you have to have a great voice to be a Broadway star. Like, have you heard Lin-Manuel Miranda? It's like, all these people, they're not great singers. It's really not about their voice. And the people that do have great voices oftentimes don't become stars. It's really about just expressing something in whatever voice you have. There are a million Broadway stars that don't have great voices. It's so not about your voice. It's about being yourself and expressing yourself.
Side note, I have to say this. Andrew just wrote, hi, Seth, my daddy, Michael Schnall, taught with your mommy.
Really? Oh my God. My mom is 91. How the hell old is your dad?
Andrew, you have to buy him a drink on that one. That's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
But a lot of what, I mean, folks, I mean, look, I think I can see from the chat, everything you're saying is resonating. One of the things that I think is very powerful that Seth is talking about is have them kids bring their authentic self in terms of character, right? Nobody's a robot. They're not going like Seth and people don't want to just hear a beautiful voice. They want to actually see a whole person. And so if someone comes in, as Bill said, how they sell it, right? If they come in that room saying, you know what, you want me in your show, not arrogance, but confidence, right? And come in and just be the character, not just the song.
Well, it's 2 things I want to say. First of all, when I was doing the Legally Blonde reality show, this girl, Autumn, had an amazing voice, and she kept doing really badly on the final audition. And I was like, why aren't you sounding good? You sound so good whenever we practice. And she said, oh, when I audition, I kind of associate it with people taking away, basically not giving me the job. So her audition was sort of her way of saying, do you like me? And it always ended with them not liking her. And I was like, cut. I was like, your audition is a chance for you to sing a song you love. That's it. It's not to get the job. Remember loving singing? It's just like, I love to sing the song. And that's all it is. And maybe they'll like you, maybe they won't, but it's a chance for you to sing. It's not a chance for you to ask to sing later. You are getting to sing. So just enjoy your audition song. And on top of that, we always say you're there to solve someone's problem. They want to cast someone. They don't want to cast for 2 weeks. They'd rather you be great and they can give you the gig. So you're there to actually help them, not to say, am I good? But more to help them because they need somebody.
Vanessa said elementary school. So Seth, working with young kids, you've worked with on Broadway, et cetera. Where do you think is the best place to start teaching acting the song for kids that are young?
Oh, anytime. I mean, hold on one second. Anytime, hold on. I just have to tell my sister. I always try to, I used to do this thing with kids where I would teach them a simple phrase. I want you to go. So I would teach them like, I want you to go. So I was like, okay, I guess you could just say, I want you to go. So I make them sing it 3 times. And I say, let's say you're obsessed with someone. So you want them to come with you to the playground. So you're singing, I want you to go with me to the playground. And the other person is saying, I don't really like you. I want you to get away from me. So you're singing the exact same phrase twice, but with 2 different subtexts. And it just teaches every kid can understand that, like, I want you to go. And then like, I want you to go. So I just would have them sing the same words over and over again, but with all different subtexts. And it teaches them about what it's like to act words.
I mean, that's great advice for any age of actor who's, just to kind of just strip it all down. So let's take a moment here, because I know that I've seen Seth do this and it's so fun, everybody. I'm going to ask you to throw a name of a Broadway performer into the chat, and Seth will tell a story.
Or a show.
Or a show that you love, or a performer that you love or you want to hear about.
Yeah.
Elaine Stritch, there we go.
Sure. Okay, I got plenty. Actually, okay, I never get to do this.
Oh, Beth Lavelle, you just did something with Beth,
Yes.
so we'll do her
Hold
next.
on 1 second. I have a prop. Hold on 1 second.
Told you guys you'd enjoy him. He's great, right? And we are
like a textbook.
In the fall, we'll bring him back and we'll have him do a master workshop with an actor.
All right. So Elaine, I have 2. I'll just say one quick Elaine Stritch story. So one is Megan Mullally, who I did Grease with. She was doing Young Frankenstein. She had 2 tickets to opening night. She gave 1 to Stritch. And Megan said she finished bowing and Elaine Stritch was already in the wing. She's like, I don't even know how she got there so quickly. So Megan's walking off stage opening night and Elaine Stritch goes, Megan, you were wonderful. The show sucked. Okay, so she told it like it is. Second of all, at the Tony Awards, they were taking photos of people backstage and they took a photo of Elaine Stritch. And Tom Viola, who runs Broadway Cares Equity Stage, got this idea to take all these photos of people backstage at the Tony Awards and auction them off for Broadway Cares Equity Stage and have people sign them. So he gave the photo to his assistant. He said, can you go get Elaine Stritch to sign this and we're going to auction it? His assistant comes back an hour later, basically shaking, crying. And Tom's like, what happened? And he said, Elaine started signing it. And then she looked closer and she said she hated the photo and she ripped it into 4 pieces and threw it back at me. And here are the pieces. And Tom's like, really? Guess what? He framed it and he gave it to me. Hold on. I'm going to unblur my background. Hold on. I know it's so dishy. I've never shown this on video, but I never do things to my house. Hold on. You have to actually see. Here we go.
Oh my God. I love it.
I would show my background, but just the bed is so messy. Okay. Who else did somebody ask?
Well, do Beth, because you just do
Beth.
something with Beth.
Oh yeah. I love this. Beth's just the coolest person, but this is the businessman. She was starring in 42nd Street playing Dorothy Brock, and finally was like going to take a week vacation with her kids, flew down to Disney. When she landed, her agent called and said, listen, I want to tell you this before you read it. 42nd Street ticket sales are not good. So they're getting Shirley Jones to take over Dorothy Brock. So they just fired you. And Beth said the whole vacation was her saying to her kids, put that down. Mommy can't afford it. Put it down. But that's the ups and downs of the business. Then she got a Tony Award a couple years later. Who else?
Cabaret,
sure. So if they could see, what is it? If you could see her through my eyes, it's a brilliant song because basically it's Joel Grey singing with the gorilla and saying, if you could see her through my eyes, and he's dancing and saying, oh, she's so beautiful, isn't she? And the whole audience is laughing. At the very end, he says, if you could see her through my eyes, she wouldn't look Jewish at all. And it's a brilliant moment because it's making the audience go, oh my God, I know what it was like to be in Nazi Germany and laugh at anti-Semitism. I just did it. I see how easy it is. And that's why there was that mirror on stage that reflected back. it was brilliant because it basically was saying, this is what Germany was like, and this is how people in the audience were complicit. And unfortunately, what happens, still happens to this day, people do not see subtext. And B'nai B'rith was like, you doing an anti-Semitic song in cabaret, you need to not do it. It wasn't, of course it was anti-Semitic, it was Nazi Germany. So B'nai B'rith told Hal Prince, we are gonna literally not bring any groups to your show if you have this anti-Semitic song in cabaret. And they made Joel Grey sing, if you could see it through my eyes, she isn't a mieskite at all. So by the way, so it doesn't make any sense anymore. It took out the whole point. And Joel Grey told me that every once in a while he would forget and do the actual original lyrics and get busted by the stage manager. And thank God for the movie, they put them back in. But they were taken out of the Broadway show because B'nai B'rith didn't understand that it was busting Nazis. It wasn't pro-Nazi. Thank you.
And that's actually, and for folks that don't know, B'nai B'rith is like a national Jewish organization. And it shows a lot of our kind of misplaced sensitivity sometimes today,
Well,
where people don't understand satire and you know, kind of subtext, etc.
Which, by the
You're
way,
in
I'll just
town.
say quickly.
Yeah, go.
I just had an online, not fight, but Peter Marks was like, as long as he needs me remains problematic in Oliver. And I was like, it's not problematic. It's showing someone in an abusive relationship. The intent of the author isn't like, yay, Nancy. It's more saying this is why she's staying with an abusive man and she gets murdered. It's anti-abuse. So to just be like, it's problematic because it shows abusive relationship. It's the opposite. It helps us understand why people get abused. Oh, it makes me angry. Okay, go. Sorry.
All right, we're going to do 2 more shows and then we'll do 2 artists and then we'll say thank you so much and we will beg for you to come back. You're in town. Great show.
Yes, you're in town. Okay. When Hunter Foster first got the job, he literally told me, people would be like, what show are you doing? And he would say, I'm doing You're in Town. And he'd be like, oh, like you're in town. And he's like, no, it's You're in Town. Silence. Anyway, he was, and by the way, when John Cullum first read the script, he was like, this is awful. And he smashed it to the ground. And then his wife read it and she was like, this is good. And basically his wife forced John Cullum to do it. And then, of course, it was a big hit for him. What was the second show?
Second show, let's see. We'll go a different direction. Someone said SpongeBob.
Oh, SpongeBob. God, you know, I've interviewed people from it and I just had a full reunion. What do I know about that show? Literally can't think of anything off the top of my head.
All right, we'll do a different one. No, different one. Sutton Foster, Little Women.
Oh, yeah. This is one of my favorite stories. I wish I could play it for you, but when Sutton was doing, when I first met Sutton, we did Grease together, like belting. Then she got Thirdly Modern Millie and felt the whole show rode on her and got very, very precious about her voice, got very nervous. And I was like, why are you only belting a C? And she's like, was just too nervous to belt high. And I was busting her. I was like, you could belt a lot higher than that. Cut to, she gets Little Women. She leaves me a voice message, which I have somewhere, but she was like, Seth, it's Sutton. I just rehearsed my Act 2 song and I belt an E flat. I'm back. Click. So anyway, I just love that. Really, I'm back. What else?
Audra McDonald.
Oh, got 1,000 stories. Okay. Okay, so when she was doing Ragtime, spoiler alert, but you know, Sarah dies at the end of Act 1 and gets lifted off the stage. And the understudy was on that was lifting her. And as he picked her up, her head got caught on his button and he kept lifting and literally her wig fell off. So she said the audience was like, Sarah dies and she's bald. And then she has to get into a coffin and they reel her right back on. And no joke, often throughout the run of that show, the understudies who were backstage would put their beepers in the coffin. So she would lay on top of the beepers and then they would go to the payphone and call their beepers. So the whole time she was in the coffin, she was getting crazy buzz from the beepers. Immature people, immature. Yes.
Carolyn asked Pearly. You have a story for Pearly?
Pearly. Oh my God. I love that show so much. Two things I'll say is that the show, when the show was written for Melba Moore, her big song was Pearly. And the audience flipped out so much about her that basically they demanded through different sources a new song. And that's why I Got Love was added to Pearly, because she was so amazing in her people. So they added I Got Love, which she wound up, of course, doing and then winning the Tony Award. And she did on the Tony Awards. And the second thing I'll say, going all the way back to Hair, Melba's first show, Galt McDermott, who wrote the score, said Hair was playing off Broadway and it was moving to Broadway. He did a recording session with Melba Moore. She wasn't in the show, for something else. And he thought she was so good, he wanted to offer her the show on the spot. So he walked up to her, he said at the recording studio and said, he goes, Melba, you're an amazing singer. How would you like to do hair on Broadway? And she said, I didn't go to 4 years of music school to do somebody's hair on Broadway. Literally thought he was offering her a hairdresser position. Thank you.
All right, and last one, and I bet you have 1,000 stories for John Tartaglia.
John Tartaglia, yes. So John loved puppetry, Sesame Street, and he loved Disney. He, when he was 20, went to go audition for The Lion King, and it was for the role of Rafiki, which he didn't realize. So he said he was in the lobby, and it was like 10 Black women and him. So he was just sitting there, and the monitor came out and saw his name and thought maybe it's like a sassy woman's name. So they were like, Joan Tartaglia. And he said he went in and everyone was blank faced. And he said he started singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And he got one of those cutoffs. There was a giant arm cutoff. He said he went, Can you feel? And he saw the person go, thank you. Set him off. He did not get the role of Rafiki.
Wow, that's great. Folks, can you unmute and give Seth Rudetsky some major love? Can we give him some love?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Daryl, can you spotlight me for a second? Seth, still don't go away yet. Can you see me now, folks? Am I spotlit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are 200 of these amazing books I've already started reading. It. Musical Theater for Dummies by Seth Rudetsky just came out, hot off the presses, and they are all sitting in a box at Town Unlimited High School, surrounded by fire smoke. So we're going to get these to you guys. You will get them all. But there are stories, like Seth is telling. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to steal from him and just share with your students to kind of get them excited. And I just want to, I didn't really do the bio thing because we all know who you are, but, Seth is on Broadway on Sirius XM, his show. He raised about, was it nearly $1 million, if not $1 million? Over $1 million. Over $1 million during COVID for Actors Equity and fights AIDS. Beautiful man, beautiful person, beautiful artist. Has conducted or played piano on over 12 Broadway shows, Les Mis, Phantom, etc. 15? This is 12 on the book. You gotta get that update. So Seth, thank you so much. This is literally the tonic that these folks needed. It's been an important year for them, but a tough year for a lot of people, as you know. And I just want to share with everybody, when I talked with Seth and I said, would you come and talk? He's like, he didn't say maybe, he said when. So we're going to bring you back maybe in the fall, Seth. Thank you so much for all your joy and love.
The show I wrote on Broadway, Disaster, high schools do all the time, and it's always a huge hit. So what's the holdup, people? There's so many roles, and it's amazing music, and it's hilarious for adults and kids. I'm just saying. Thank you, Peter.
And it's always great to end with a shameless plug. So, which it is a great show, by the way. So we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll have you come play some songs from it so they can hear the.
Well, it's all 70s music. It's nothing. I mean, it's like it's every. It's
hot, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Album.
Fair enough. All right. Have a great day, Seth, and give best to James.
Just saying. All right. Bye.
Bye, Seth.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to get into some breakouts. So we're just going to do a quick check-in because I really want to give you more time to talk amongst yourselves. But just to kind of get us in the frame of mind of making student trips to experience live theater meaningful, and just to kind of steal from your big brains, if you guys can throw into the chat a response for each of these. One, what is your most favorite, maybe unique thing that you do to engage students before seeing a show in preparation? You know they're going to be seeing it. What activity do you do? What kind of conversations do you have with them? Do you play the soundtrack, etc.? What resonates that you could share with the rest of this room of 200 colleagues? And then just put before : and then write it, and then do another entry after : so after they've seen the show, post workshop, how do you engage your students? So let's just take 2 minutes to do that. I'm in my Zoom. I can't talk. Okay. I'm in my Zoom. I can't talk.
He said he's in his Zoom. He can't talk right now.
Sorry, I thought I zoomed you. I thought I hit mute. Darn it. I tried. Has everybody got a chance to do it? Are we good? You think we're good, Daryl? Have you got a fair amount of responses?
Tons of responses. Yeah.
Awesome, great. And just so you know, you're going to see a name entering the room. I just want to give him a little shout out, a little love. Josh Tepper just joined. Josh is a LaGuardia graduate, went to NYU for theater, for voice. He was going to be our actor that Seth was going to be working with today.
I just rejoined. I saw Seth.
Seth. Okay, good, Josh. Good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you've been with us, Josh. But I feel badly. Josh prepared 2 numbers for us to hear today: Memphis Lives in You and Miracle of Miracles. So we'll have him work with Seth another time. So I want to thank Melissa. Many of you know Dominique Marceau's work as a brilliant playwright and teaching artist. But she also has kind of a little philosophy of rules of engagement. I said rules of audience engagement. It's on the screen right now, and I'm just going to ask facilitators just to jump in and read one line of each one. I think this is a nice way for us to be framing the conversation of it's not just about look at the playbill or listen to the soundtrack, but there's some philosophy about engagement. So Melissa, will you read the first one for us?
You are allowed to laugh audibly.
And I'm just going to ask folks just to jump in. So I see Cheney. Will you do the next one?
You are allowed to have audible moments of reaction and response.
My work requires a few mm-hms and uh-huhs should you need to use them. Just maybe in moderation, only when you really need to vocalize.
This can be church for some of us, and testifying is allowed.
This is also live theater, and the actors need you to engage with them, not distract them or thwart their performance.
Please be an audience member that joins with others and allows a bit of breathing room. Exhale together, laugh together, say amen should you need to.
This is community. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, I love that.
Everyone.
Good. So I thought this was kind of powerful. It's actually, we're gonna, Daryl, can you throw that into the chat if you didn't already? The document for this work. So with the facilitators, we spent about an hour talking about taking students to see theater, and kind of came up with some initial thoughts that Daryl just put into the chat. It's a one-pager, and it's something that you can look at and talk about what's not on there. It's not all-encompassing. It's certainly not comprehensive. It's just some ideas. And in just a minute, you're going to be going to your breakout rooms, and you'll be facilitated to have conversations about, again, why do we take students to live theater? We shouldn't assume it. It's something that you want to be able to have really foundational as a value to experience live theater, not just make it. And then also, what do we do pre and post? I just wanted you to hear this. We don't have to spend a lot of time unpacking this, but I think it's very provocative, and I think it would be really great for each of you, certainly at the middle school and high school level, to share her rules and have the students kind of maybe have to justify them or maybe debate them and think about why do we say what she does? Again, there's something that one of the facilitators said is, think about the consequences of a shush or a shh, right? How do we redirect, and how do we get young people so when they're talking about the show versus being slammed down for being bored in a show? That's not their fault that they're bored. It's maybe not speaking to them. So thank you, Melissa, for sharing this. I'm going to move on. I just love this picture. I just wanted to share a couple images, and here's one in the lower screen. So I think we're ready. Oops. So we're going to go into breakouts for about 15 minutes. Daryl, if you can put them up there. And then the facilitators have jam boards for you. The focus is on why taking young people to theater, thinking about pre-show engagement, post-show engagement, opportunities, and it's really an opportunity for you guys to really kind of share what you're thinking. So it looks, Daryl and I popped in a little bit and looked at some of the jam boards. It looks like you guys were really productive. Was that helpful? To see what other folks are doing, considering? And we can,
really helpful.
Awesome. And we can
Peter, it was a chance for us to share some resources. And will we be able to get copies of the jam boards we were creating?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, Daryl. We can download them and I don't know how they, does anybody know how download Jamboard looks? Does it look like a snapshot or is it like a data list of, does anybody know?
You can download it as a PDF and it will just
You can download as a PDF.
Yep.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Britton.
And those links are just live, so you can also just go back and reference them as well. But we'll send it all out.
Great. So let's download them as PDFs. I get nervous, with things just being in the ether world, but we can do both. So that would be great. But we want to continue that conversation next year in terms of the theater literacy and really expanding how young people see theater and having a point of view and being able to talk about it, and as well as being engaged in it. And then also giving you guys ammo for justifying. I know some people are like, some principals think it's just kind of like going to a Yankee game or something, and they don't realize it's not just a fun trip, that this is actually research for you guys. This is a lot of bread and butter. So we got about 5 or 10 more minutes. What I want to do is I'm going to share the screen and just kind of wrap up with kind of resources and opportunities, et cetera. Thank you again, facilitators, for doing that. Daryl is going to throw into the chat right now a blueprint link. You guys all probably know this, but on page 127, I put this together years ago. This is what sparked the thinking of kind of the trip to the theater. So here's just some other kinds of things to be thinking about, framed as questions that kind of you can use. If you have a hard copy, you can just Xerox it. If you want to download it, it's in Daryl's putting it in the chat. All right, for high school teachers, I sent this out. This is an incredible opportunity. Or if you're middle school teachers and you've got a kid who went to high school that you're in touch with, these two really lovely lighting designers run the Studio School of Design, this guy Cliff and this guy Mark. And they produce not only on Broadway, but they do like dance concerts and all kinds of stuff around the country. And they're super interested in engaging our New York City teens. And they did a really beautiful workshop last summer. It's not only free, the students get stipends. So this information, I'll send out this PowerPoint, but it was an email to you. So you can look for an email from me. Maybe I'll send it out again. But it is in person in Manhattan, full days for about a week. Lunch is provided. And as you see where it says what the workshop will cover, they go over all kinds of stuff. I think some people on this call, maybe someone unmute and say me or shout out. You might have done the 2-day workshop that we did with Mark Stanley a couple weeks ago. Is anybody on the call who did that with us?
I did it.
Me.
Just pretty great stuff, right, guys?
It was great.
Hansel, you can speak.
Oh yes, they're open to our students, and they gave so much information. One thing I have to say, I didn't know that. I'd never thought of it, that there has to be a lighting designer for a cemetery. And I learned that from our workshops, just different things that lighting designers do.
Cool. So they were really great, and Mark is super accessible. So in the boxes that are safe and protected at Talent Unlimited, you'll be getting more plays, more texts, more resources. Certainly you'll get the Musical Theater for Dummies by Seth. We've got more flood lamps and extension cords and tape and other resources. So again, June 21st, Bill said yes, Brooke, just so you know. We'll be camping up, setting up at Talent Unlimited. We'll send that out with an address. They're on East 67th Street and what's the cross street, Brooke? Lex? No.
Second Ave.
No.
Second Ave.
Second
Second
Avenue.
Avenue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Second Avenue. Thank you. Sent this back a while, back in, I think November, maybe January. But our friends at MTI, I'll show you real fast. They created a site for us specifically. It's free for you guys. This is what it looks like. We'll send it out.
We can't see it. We're still in the PowerPoint.
Oh, you're still in PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So let's screw that. No, I gotta stop sharing. Go back in again. Sorry about that. Anyway, where's MTI created a site where you can go and you can do free reads of scripts. You can listen to scenes and songs. So, you know, in the spirit of really trying to help you guys diversify the shows that you're thinking of doing, and not everybody just doing Heathers and Mean Girls and Clue. So just wanted to share that with you. We'll send that out again. Just a reminder that hopefully you got the iTheatrics book last time. Really fantastic book from our colleagues at iTheatrics about soup to nuts putting on a musical. You also got Jess LeBlanc's, who's in my classroom. Has anybody been able to start looking at this text? You can just unmute and say yes, just so I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Great, great. Very accessible, really thoughtful, student writing, feeding his research. And he's working with several of our Arthur Miller Fellows, and we'll be expanding the work on mindsets. Just a reminder for our elementary middle school teachers, you have membership for Drama Notebook and for another year. So I really encourage you, if you've been able to access it and use it, fantastic. If you haven't taken advantage of it, I'm not going to be able to renew it again unless you pay for it the next year. So you got it for one more year. This summer, absolutely go to the site, log in, write them if you haven't had a chance to, and let them know that because they've got your membership email. But some really amazing stuff, lesson plans, etc. And same for Educational Theater Association for high school. Our friend Lindsay Shields, I don't think she could join us today. She's the liaison for New York City. But if you're interested in starting a high school thespian honor society at your high school, in addition to just kind of having students perform, etc., definitely look at this membership.
And they can reach out to me also, Peter, if you're interested in starting a troupe.
Who's speaking?
Aaron Mohan Smith.
Oh, Aaron, fantastic, great, Aaron.
Is that also for schools who need to like renew a membership? Because I didn't renew for this year, but I would like to for next.
Who's speaking? Sorry.
This is Talia.
Hey, Talia. So you should have gotten a 2-year membership that I paid for.
Okay.
But if you were already a member, then you might not have gotten it. So you might have to renew. So yeah, you should reach out to me and Aaron, but we'll find out.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm very excited. Many of you are participating and or have been participating in our National Theater partnership. It ended this year in terms of the funding. And I just got off the phone last week with the National Theater and the Friends of the National Theater. They are so thrilled with how their collection is being used. And here's a QR code. If you're not a member right now, go ahead and just download this so you can sign up. But they're so excited from how we're doing it in New York that they're going to continue funding in perpetuity for a while. So those of you that have licenses, you have them for free forever, basically. If you want to have more students get licenses, we have teachers that are continuing to create lesson plans and units. And one of the big projects I'm excited to do this coming year with Janie, who's my coordinator on it, and working with Jen Katona also, is to start developing National Theater Collection filmed units of study for you guys, where the teachers develop units that you can actually plug into your curriculum and make it about theater literacy and making about connections to ELA and social studies. So does anybody need the QR code up anymore, or are you guys good? All right, go ahead, Brooke. Okay, everybody good? Great. You all know the I Teach Theater site. definitely please continue to go to that. We'll be not upgrading, what's the word? Updating the site with new resources, et cetera, including this one. And then this is just an image I shared a couple years ago that I found that I wanted to reshare. I love this. In the theater, all are welcome. And I just put the names of different careers because in the theater, not only all are welcome, but all are engaged. And not just performers, but designers and publicists and producers and playwrights and crew, et cetera. And so just to keep reminding ourselves that it's our charge, but also exciting to engage in the 360 of what theater can be. We're going to continue our digital theater project work, and we'll be sharing more lessons this summer, units that you guys can just take and start teaching with. And then this is just because this is a little sad, but I'll share with you right now, and I'm gonna escape and get back into person why I showed the summer nights. So the thing I had planned for everybody was after Seth Rudetsky did his workshop with Josh and kind of coaching him for 30 of you while you did other workshops, we were all going to get back into the theater, and it was going to be like a Marie's Crisis. Was going to have Seth at the piano, tinkling the ivories while you guys all came in and sat on the stage, and we were just going to do a sing along. And Daryl had QRs for all of the lyrics. We were going to have you pull out your phones, follow the lyrics. Seth had sheet music for those people who wanted to do harmony. So we're going to, I think, hopefully revisit that, if not in November, another time. But that is our June virtual PD, folks. I hope it was good for you. I hope you were able to get some stuff out of it on different levels, and also just being together. It pains me that we're not together in person, saying goodbye for the year. So I'm going to try to see if there's one thing I can pull off, like maybe everybody here gets to go see Shakespeare in the Park together, if I can. But if I don't, thank you. Have a great rest of the semester and an amazing summer. If any of you are leaving your school or changing jobs or moving out of town, and I want to be careful that if an opening is happening in a theater, if there's a theater opening in a school, I don't want that going away. So if you know of positions, I know of teachers who are looking. So if your school's adding a faculty member, for example, just shoot me a private email and just say, this is the school, this is the principal, there is a position, help them fill it. Anything else? You guys good?
Be sure to register. I'm putting it in the chat again.
Yeah, so let's stay on for a second. Just go to the chat, the link that he has there, throw it in there.
Put it in so many times. I'm just going to keep putting it in.
Thank you, Peter, and everybody. Even on Zoom, our stuff is better than most of my friends have in their schools. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Daryl. We love you guys.
Thank you, Peter.
I love you guys too. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great summer.
Have a great summer, guys. Take